This wedding was an assignment for my Religion 2 class in Catholic school.
A narcissist tries to take over. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Harry's wife truly believes that she is the center of the universe. She can't help it. Her rampant narcissism tells her that she is important. It's not the case that she goes around the whole time thinking, I'm important, I'm important, I'm important. But rather, she instinctively behaves in a way which suggests that she is the grand fromage, the big cheese, and the most important person in the universe. And the reason that she instinctively behaves this way is that her narcissism drives her to behave in this manner because that's how it allows her to survive. By causing her to act and behave like she is the most important person, it makes it easier for her to assert the control that is so important to her as a narcissist. As you know, because she's a narcissist, she is hypersensitive to threats to control, and therefore she has to have a default position that encourages her to acquire that control and maintain it. And by acting and believing that she is fundamentally superior and important, that makes it easier for her to obtain and maintain that control. By acting as if she is the center of the universe, the sun, the star around which everything else orbits, it causes her to be able to obtain the fuel more readily. This mindset and default setting of her conduct causes her to act with a sense of entitlement. I can go anywhere I like because I am the most important person here. I can do whatever I please. People will accommodate it because, after all, I am the amazing Harry's wife. I'm allowed to walk through this doorway. I'm allowed to attend this event. I'm allowed to go into this place because it's me, Harry's wife. Why would anybody want to stop me? And as a consequence of this incessant drive of her sense of entitlement, she turns up at places where she's not wanted, sharpens the old elbows, and gets in the way. Remember the footage I showed you some time ago, where at a polo event, Harry's team didn't win, but she still insisted on them showing off the trophy and making it seem as if they had won and she was part of that winning team. Anybody else watching that would have most likely cringed with embarrassment at her behaviour, but not Harry's wife, because her narcissism drives her to behave that way. It causes her to act with no sense of accountability, because if she were accountable for her actions, she would row them back. She would not engage in them. She would halt and go, is this the right thing to do? No, she just ploughs ahead, trampling wherever she wants with those oversized cloven hooves in order to get the prime aims. She has no boundary recognition. That's why she talks over people, acts in a way that she thinks is entirely appropriate. I'm a hugger, whereas other people be thinking, whoa, personal space intrusion. That's why you see her clapping when it's unnecessary to do so, blowing kisses at people at the Invictus Games. Some people pass it off as, oh, she's just being an American. But it's not. There are plenty of American people who don't behave that way at all. It's because she's a narcissist and she doesn't recognize those boundaries. And now we have a lovely piece of video footage which shows that rampant sense of entitlement that drives her behaviors as she attempts to take over once again. Let's have the footage and then we can analyze it. Here it comes. There you have it. A narcissist attempting to take over. Harry's wife walks onto the stage at the Kevin Costner event. I'm not sure who the lady is in purple. It doesn't really matter who she is. But notice that the first thing that Harry's wife attempts to do is to take the microphone off this lady. This isn't Harry's wife's event. She's a guest. She's not a guest speaker. She's not a scheduled speaker. She's not a patron or a founder. She is simply a guest. Indeed, although she was described as a special guest, we all know that as a consequence of the relationship between her agency, who acts for her, and also for Kevin Costner, that it meant that Costner was somewhat backed into a corner about having her as a guest. Come on, Kev, do us a favour, let her come, she'll pay for it. And thus he agrees, and she gets the title of special guest. But there's nothing in there about her coming along and making a speech. No. But of course, Harry's wife automatically assumes that that's what she's going to do. Why? Because her magical thinking tells her all of these people here want to hear from her. Now you hear some whooping and some applauding when she comes along on the stage, but it's hardly a tsunami and outpouring of absolute delight and rapturous support for her. Indeed, the fact that you can hear one person whooping and hollering tells you that there isn't exactly a large volume of noise accompanying her appearance. But her narcissism explains to her that, and she acts instinctively, she doesn't think to herself, I know, I need to take the mic off this person and make a speech because that'll enable me to assert control over more people and draw in more fuel. It doesn't work like that. She instinctively goes for the mic because she has no emotional empathy for the audience, no emotional empathy for Kevin Costner, no emotional empathy for the lady in purple, to keep her in check from not trying to take the microphone. She takes it because there is an automatic assumption on the part of her narcissism that she should be allowed to speak. She seeks to take it because her narcissism dictates that everybody would want to hear from her, surely. There is an automatic assumption on the part of her narcissism to take the microphone because it wants her to do that in order to enable her to assert control over more people and draw fuel. But good on purple lady. It's basically, fuck you, you're not talking, and she doesn't relinquish it. That small act causes some wounding to Harry's wife. Because her facade is in action, namely demonstrating to the public at large that are there that she is a decent person, she can't rugby tackle the lady in purple or lay a headbutt on her to then take the microphone from her, or stand there wrestling with her saying, give me the mic, give me the mic. Instead, she has to let it go. The fact that she has to give this up causes a degree of wounding to her, and she walks on, her narcissism propelling her to deal with somebody else, thus jettisoning the threat to control that she's experienced. But again, a lovely little example, in a nutshell, that demonstrates the huge sense of entitlement of Harry's wife, the way that she tries to take over everything that she's involved in. Witness the way she went on in Dusseldorf with the Harry's wife's games. And here, with her Sherlock Holmes cast-off cloak, she turns up and automatically attempts to take the microphone to speak, but she's not allowed to. Her sense of entitlement and her magical thinking are denied by the lady in purple, and we are granted another example to see her narcissism in action. I'm H.D. Tudor.